Good morning, and welcome to the AutoPilot and LiveChat webinar this morning, entitled How LiveChat Increased Email Engagement by 360% with Customer Journey Marketing. Good evening also to those of you who are in Europe or elsewhere in the world. We're very excited today to be hosting this webinar with LiveChat. My name is Guy Marion, and I'm the CMO and Head of Growth for AutoPilot, and I'll be today's host. I'm delighted to be joined by special guests from our customer live chat that I'll be introducing in just a second here. These guys are doing amazing things with automation and are getting big results. So we're pretty excited they've graciously agreed to share a fairly open book with what they're doing in AutoPilot and to get results at live chat. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items I wanted to cover. First is feel free to ask questions at any time throughout the presentation today. We'll be moderating these throughout the questions both in the GoToWebinar panel, the chat panel, as well as on Twitter. If you are going to tweet, then use the hashtag journey marketing hashtag. And if your questions are not answered today, someone will follow up with you after the webinar. This session is being recorded and will be sent to you following the presentation for your own purposes or to share with others. In addition, LiveChat has a special offer today for anybody who's joined the webinar and wants to try their service. So a little bit about the agenda for today. Email marketing is still the primary channel for communicating with customers and to drive conversion. But what happens when you kick it up a notch by personalizing your messaging based on where users are in the life cycle? Today we're going to talk a little bit about how LiveChat connected their apps and moved from batch and blast mailings to targeted communications throughout the customer journey, and in doing so increased their overall click rates from less than 1% to over 9.2%. We'll start off with the introduction to both our speakers as well as the main reasons why they started automating, and then we're going to dive into 5 customer journeys that LiveChat has implemented across their marketing, sales support, and product use cases within their organization. And if at the end we have time, we're going to go to Q&A. So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce, first of all, we have Jacob Furuta, who is a Customer Success Manager and Head of Customer Content at LiveChat.
Hey, great to be here.
Great. Well, great to have you, Jake. And secondly, we have Philip Yakulski, who's a web developer and leads of marketing operations at LiveChat.
Hi, hello. Really excited to be here too.
Good. Well, thanks for both joining. I know it's 6 p.m. over there at Poland, and I understand you're currently in your office, which looks like something of a mansion. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. We have a pretty cool office. If anyone wants to see some pictures from our offices or our company, we definitely encourage you to go to our Facebook or Twitter pages where we share our photos.
Got it. Cool. All right. Well, let's, Jake, I'm going to pass it over to you, and maybe you can take us through a little bit about what is LiveChat.
Sure. LiveChat is as the name suggests, is a live chat software service that any online business can use to get in touch with their customers. Our customers are mainly small and medium businesses that need a way to quickly and efficiently contact their customers and solve any other problems. Basically, any business with an online website can use LiveChat to either boost sales or improve customer service on their website.
Got it. And so who are your primary users?
We have the industries that use LiveChat are really broad. I think we currently have around 22 main industries that use LiveChat. We have users in over 130 countries. Currently, we're sitting at 14,000 paying customers in a really broad range of industries, like from automotive through professional services companies to Forex or web hosting companies. So audience for LiveChat is really, really huge.
Excellent. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the actual company LiveChat?
Sure. The company was founded in 2008. We've grown a lot since then in terms of both the product and the company culture. Since we started working in the SaaS model, we've seen really a lot of growth. Currently, we just broke the 14,000 customers mark. I think it was a couple of days ago, and we are really excited to get even more people on board with LiveChat.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. I mean, LiveChat industry and the LiveChat as a general tool has been something that has been growing, I'd say, pretty rapidly, especially during the SaaS era of software now, with customers and vendors being so close together. Having that immediate back and forth with users has proven to be something that's very valuable for companies all across the world. We see that very regularly here.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Philip here. Would like to talk a little bit about, shift gears here and talk about what decided and what resulted in you saying let's move from more of an email blast approach in terms of how you were previously engaging customers towards moving towards automation and the customer journey. So could you take us through a few of those points?
Sure thing. What we face every day is a constant rapid growth of customers. I'm sorry, I'm hearing something else. Something is wrong on my side. Or...
There we go, that's better.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, so this is the main point. To evaluate, to manage a huge group, huge amount of customers at once in an automated way, but not losing a human personal touch. And what we needed and still need is a tool that allows us to collaborate on this thing effectively throughout various departments inside our company and throughout various cases. We also need a thing that has a really low learning curve, because we want to this tool to be used by end users without further training or special introduction. And we achieve this all with AutoPilot, and this is really great. This is the point why we are using it now.
Yeah, it was a big point for us to have a tool that all departments in the company can use. So not only the developers who will set it up, but also then salespeople, marketing people, and even our customer service team use it to manage and to use different journeys.
That makes sense. And when you first came to move towards an automated platform, did you decide that you wanted to try and do this across different departments, or were you really thinking about it from a marketing perspective first?
Kind of both, actually, because we were aware of the fact that marketing automation should be done really throughout the whole company, because we want to think about our funnel, our marketing funnel, as a whole thing, which involves actions from our support team, development team, and marketing team. So this is what we wished we can get from marketing automation, and this is what we got in the end.
Yep. Well, after a lot of experimentation and testing various services, we've decided to go with AutoPilot because of how easy it is to set up journeys and how different departments can use it to optimize the experience in a particular place in the funnel. For example, for the marketing team to optimize the experience in the beginning of the funnel, and then when the customer converts and becomes a customer, when the lead converts and becomes a customer, our support team can pick it up and continue to provide the great experience through other journeys.
Right, and I think this is one of the exciting things we've seen with what LiveChat's been doing, we'll go into that in a few minutes, is how you've been able to tie together, truly bring together the customer experience in a customer-facing way, not an interdepartmental way. It's this customer face and the experience that's so important in today's SaaS business. One other point you highlighted was being able to do regular experimentation and testing. Is that something that your company has always encouraged, or it's been part of your process, or is this a relatively recent activity that you've started taking on?
That's really a good question. It's also connected to our need, because we like to think of growth as an experimenting sandbox. So basically, we need a tool which allows us to create experiments easily and quickly. This is more about an approach on discovering marketing automation, and we'll move it to it in a second. But yes, we've been making the experiments before, and we are doing them now really easily with AutoPilot.
Great. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the approach that you took in terms of how you initially got the system set up. And then we're going to go into 5 actual use cases that you're doing today and show how you're using the system. But I think at a high level, you have taken an approach to set up and provide a really integrated environment that allows you to, again, pass data between systems. And it's been through that and better segmentation that's allowed you to increase overall click rates you described by 360% from before you had synced and automated until after. Maybe if you could just talk us through a little bit at a high level, sort of how you got started with automation.
Sure thing. So our approach is pretty simple. It consists of 3 steps. We basically try to discover and research some particular pain point, like let's say some part of the onboarding journey or whatever you like. Then we measure the current state of the things. So we want to know how it behaves, how are the numbers before we do anything. Then we just simply implement the solution and try it out. So what we did, we actually started with one form. We connected it simply via form crawler from your product. Then we started to send emails, right? So we set up a first journey, which was really quick, and then we discovered that we can do other experiments. We started to measure them, and this is how we get to the stack, which looks right now like integrations from 4 different things and also LiveChat. So basically, we use integration with Recurly, and this allows us to gather information about our customer subscriptions. We also use Salesforce to manage our leads and to help our sales team to manage them. As you can see, we also use Slack as an endpoint, as a notification channel for our people in our company. And we also use Zapier integration and webhooks. This is another thing I didn't mention before, but we needed a really good tool which allows us to communicate via API. And we use this API channel to integrate AutoPilot with LiveChat.
Great. And we were pretty involved with you during that setup process, but it sounds like once you got the actual data pushing back and forth into AutoPilot via the API, it's really opened up your abilities to personalize and take the next step in terms of the work you've been doing.
Yeah, I have to admit you were really patient with us on the beginning, and I'm truly thankful for that. That was really cool.
No, I think it was great. I think, as you said during our warm-up sessions for this webinar today, that experience going through back and forth through support kind of brought our companies together, which is always nice. Okay, so I think at this point we're going to go ahead and get into the fun stuff. Excuse me, audience members, but I'm going to actually exit out of full screen mode here because GoToWebinar is not letting me ask a poll. But we wanted to ask a couple quick poll questions here. So I'm going to go to Paul, and the first question is, would you please mind sharing, are you currently using chat to support your customers, yes or no? If you could go ahead and start filling it out, this will give us a sense of how many people today are active live chatters. And by the way, in case you're interested, we've got 87 attendees. Everyone looks pretty engaged and active. So thank you for spending time out of your Tuesday morning here to be here. All right, so after 30 seconds, it looks like we're at about 2/3, 64% have said yes, and 37% said no. So 2/3 of the audience are active live chatters, which is excellent. That puts you in the elite category of good customer-facing companies. The second quick question I'm going to ask you is please share your level of experience with automation. Number one, I've never bought or used marketing automation. 2 is less than 1 year. 3 is 1 to 3 years, or 4 is more than 3 years. So we're seeing we're rising quickly here. It's about a third have never, 40% less than 1 year, 17% 1 to 3 years, and 8% more than 3 years. So about 75% have never or less than 1 year, and about 25% have 1 to 3 years or more. So we have a pretty even balance, but a little bit more on the earlier stage, which is great. That's what we wanted to do today, is be able to tell a story of a company that's doing really cool things with automation. All right, I'm going to jump right back in here. Thanks, everybody, for bearing with me on that. And let us now, without further ado, get into the fun stuff, which is we're going to go through 5 use cases, and we're going to dive into the LiveChat AutoPilot instance to see how the sausage is being made, so to speak. So let's start off with the first use case. And this is, in this journey, you have you're driving lead generation, and specifically you're increasing the effectiveness of content downloads, so people who register to get your customer service report. And you've done so by personalizing it for different industries and then delivering the right report to the contact using a dynamic link, and in doing so, driving tons of leads and great open rates. I'm going to pass it over to you, but that's my quick summary on this point.
Yeah, sure. What we did was we created as probably any company that doing content marketing, we created a report on, in this case, on customer service trends in 2015, and we wanted to share that with people. We initially really wanted to get some exposure and maybe catch on emails, but we later thought that we could qualify these leads a bit more. From the initial basis of people who sign up to get the report, we simply sent them the link to the report and wanted to learn a bit more about them. So we created a pop-up that allows them to tell us a bit more about themselves, leave us their email, and tell us which industry they represent. And by doing that, we've generated over 400 leads, really high quality leads with information about the customer's industry and a way to reach them. In exchange, we offered them a customized version of the report, which they can later download. And what we did with those leads we simply use them to enter a AutoPilot journey. So if you could share us the screen, we'll show how it works.
Absolutely. Coming over now.
Perfect. While we do this, I just want to mention that this is a great example of experiment, because we actually didn't believe in pop-ups, but after implementing it in a really quick way with AutoPilot, we learned that they actually will work.
Yeah, they can be really effective, and we always thought that people must really hate them. Nobody would want to click them and leave us their email, but these pop-ups really clicked for us. So this is how the customer who just got the report through email sees the report. After scrolling a bit through the report, we send them a pop-up, and here it is. A simple pop-up that asks gets about a bit more information from them. So they just leave us their email, their name, and pick the industry they represent, and we send them a personalized copy. What happens in the background if you could switch to AutoPilot.
Sure.
This is how the backend of the whole process looks like. So we have on the left we have the form that captures these leads, and they now enter the journey. After we add someone to the journey, we send a quick notification over on Slack to just see this. We wanted to see the scale of the whole report, and we are really excited when we started to receive more and more notifications through Slack, because so many people were signing up for this kind of pop-up. There's a simple delay we use to just build up the excitement a bit, and we send them the customized version of the report. This journey is really simple, but it allows us to capture a lot of high-quality leads we plan to use, and we already use in some other journeys. Yeah, this is the example email we send with the customized report. Another journey.
So let's take a look at this email for 1 second. So one thing that you've done that's interesting in this email, if I might, for a second, is you've delivered a list, an email with a link that is actually personalized with the email address of that user in there. And then by using that email that you've embedded, you've been able to deliver on your system, look up that user within AutoPilot, find out what their industry it is, and then the link you send them to gives them the report that includes the industry they selected on that initial form.
Exactly, that is. I mean, this is another part of the experiment. We just wanted to check out if AutoPilot's API can serve as a database source. So what we do is we gather the information on the industry over here, and we pass it to the AutoPilot as a field. Then we can query the API with a question about the industry of this subscriber. And when we do this, we just present a personalized copy with highlighted information from particular industry.
Yeah, and what we did with this information was create a sort of a drip campaign for other resources we have. So we now have a group of over 400 leads that got the custom report. And what we did was create another journey that offers them a bit more knowledge, since they already were interested in industry knowledge. So we decided to check if they want to see other pieces we prepared. And here's how the journey looks like. So we have the list entering at the top. There's a slight delay, so we don't want them to receive both the custom report and additional resources on the same day. We also wanted to test out the A/B split here to see if another part of experimentation we do to see if which emails were more effective, plain text emails or templated emails. So on the both sides we have the same kind of route, but the emails simply look different. And here's how the template for the email looks like. Yeah, and through this journey we offer 2 additional resources, I think. One ebook on how to sell with LiveChat, other ebook on how to manage a customer service team. So a bit of additional resources we provide to those leads, and so we can nurture them further. Yeah, and I think this is pretty much the first example. It yielded really great results. It allowed us to test a lot of stuff. We were able to do a lot of experiments, and we definitely learned a lot about both pop-ups and how we can use content in our journeys.
Excellent. This is an excellent example, and these results you're getting: 75% open rate, 82% click rates. These are really high.
It shows that the people not only wanted to see these resources, but they also keep coming back to check them out.
And kind of from a marketing perspective, kind of almost like a growth hack perspective, you've developed and put all this energy into creating initial core content, your ebook, then you've made minor modifications to repurpose it for many different industries, and then you've built in an automated follow-up flow and an automated ongoing nurture that in turn is getting much higher responses simply because you've made some personalization tweaks for that particular industry. I think it's a great takeaway that lots of companies, including ourselves, can learn from. One question that's come up from the audience I think is interesting is, in building these journeys, how much do you collaborate internally with members of different departments to design and think about ways you can get more from your marketing efforts?
Well, the flow is, I think, pretty open in our company. We don't really have a really separated, because everyone, we have shared communication channels like Slack and email, and we can, everybody has access to AutoPilot. So there's no problems with collaborating on discovering new journeys. Whenever a person discovers a new way to, or tries a new experiment and finds that a particular approach works really well, we just simply share that this information internally in the company. I don't think we have any problems in collaborating with other departments. So it's not only a marketing thing or a support thing, but we try to work together as much as possible.
Great. And there's a couple other audience questions about seeing specifics on the email. We can share that afterwards, and there's also going to be a recap of this. I think one piece of to be aware of is, even though this is in this case, this is an ebook about customer service, which is what LiveChat's industry is. Other companies may be doing your own ebooks or infographics or any sort of content that you might typically gate in order to generate leads. What they've done is be able to personalize that content and then be able to serve that up in a more direct way that gets better results. Great. Well, listen, I'm going to take back and we're going to go to the next slide here. And we're going to move on to use case number 2. So, all right. Show my screen. Here we are. All right, so after that, number 2, and this one's really quite an amazing use case to me, and that is that you have been able to combine LiveChat, your system, and then using the AutoPilot API, be able to, you've figured out how to turn positive support interactions that your LiveChat teams are engaging with customers online into high-value sales leads. In doing so, generating 120 very, very qualified leads in a short period of time, and you're doing so in a fully automated way, which is both a goldmine for your company from a sales perspective, but it also delivers an impressive user experience for people who come to your site, chat with somebody, and then get a personalized outreach some period of time later that responds back to that previous exchange they had. It's one of those things that everybody wants to be able to do but kind of struggles with, and I think you've made it look easy. So I'm going to pass it over to you to talk through this.
Sure. This journey seems it's really powerful, but it's really it seems really simple when we think about it. What we did was, because we have a system where we have thousands of chats every day. People keep coming to our website and ask different questions, and we thought out to ourselves how we can utilize that and maybe capture some leads this way and feed them into AutoPilot to maybe convert them later on, if somebody, for example, is not ready to convert immediately. And what we did, we set up a quick integration of LiveChat and AutoPilot by creating a webhook that let us show us. For example, when a customer comes to LiveChat, they simply enter the name and email, and at that point we have all the information about them. We need to have them enter a AutoPilot journey. So here's an example how it looks like from a customer's perspective. So simply they come to our chat, and one of our chat agents can pick it up, and after the chat is done, we can tag the chat with a specific tag. So for example, if it's a sales tag, if it's a sales chat, we can simply tag it with sales, and the integration we have set up will pick it up and send that information to AutoPilot. So from this point on, when the sales tag was added, the contact becomes the chat lead becomes a contact in AutoPilot, and we have a specific journey setup that reaches out to set our sales contacts from chat. At the moment, we have a small sales team comprising of 2 people, and whenever a sales-oriented chat happens, one of our support agents simply tags answers the questions as they arise, and tags the chat with the sales tag. After the chat is finished, and maybe sometimes I think there's just one day delay, we send a quick follow-up email to check maybe if the potential lead has any more questions, or would they like a dedicated demo or something like that. And bear in mind that this kind of journey is not offered to all of our potential sales opportunities, but specifically to the bigger customers that could use a more detailed approach, more detailed explanation of LiveChat, or maybe a live demo from one of our key account managers. So here's how the quick follow-up email looks like. As you can see, it's really the whole journey is really simple, because it's just about connecting LiveChat and AutoPilot together and utilizing the power of LiveChat to generate a lot of leads. And until now, it yielded. So far it yielded really great results. I think over the 2 or 3 months we have this journey running, we've generated over 120 not only leads but replies people who replied to these follow-up emails. So
maybe can we go back to that? Oh, do you mind going back into that email for a second? I thought it'd be you're doing some good things in there that I think would be useful to just quickly double-click on. If I might just do a little bit of sort of third-party critiquing of this. One thing you've done that's nice, you start with the subject line, which is really important, of course. Thanks for the chat. So you're tying it back to the previous experience that this visitor has had from your site. In the first line, you're using a subject, you're using a first name personalization, so hi first name. You also introduce yourself immediately as a key account manager. You relate back to the previous behavior that triggered this particular journey. Thanks for the chat you had with us yesterday. It's a non-pushy email. Just wanted to follow up and thanks if you had any more information. Here's my direct info. And you've kept this very short to the point, text-based. And one small thing is you have put the unsubscribe link at the bottom of the email, since this is from an opted-in contact, but it's not but it is an automated email. But you've slightly deprioritized or de-emphasized it by taking a generic and making it into a specific line about live chat, and you've made it less visible by making it a little bit grayed. So this is a great email that you've executed and clearly been testing to improve the response rates.
Yeah, it's been working really, really great for us, because we dabbled into trying to maybe buy some leads and try to generate leads in that way. But what we found out was that the leads we bought were not really that accurate, or didn't really want to use our services. And by utilizing a journey like this, we've got a source of really high quality leads that already have some interest in LiveChat and are pretty much to just need a little push to maybe start a trial or even convert into being customer.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Those of us who are in the business of generating and developing and capturing new leads, the fact that you've been able to essentially generate these what are high-value leads, like mid-market leads coming straight off your site without paying for them, in fact, annihilating the results of previously paid lead gen acquisitions, I think is a really big eye-opener for anybody in this business out there.
Yeah, to compare them to the paid leads, I think we've got like 1% reply rate on the paid leads, so the difference is really huge.
Yes. Maybe if we go back to the journey, one more thing. Maybe just talk us through the filters you have there and how you excluded with the conditions leads or people that are already engaging your sales team.
Yeah, this is actually the thing that we went through before. The whole teams are collaborating, and they have their own journeys. So I'm not gonna introduce you through the whole thing because it was developed by the sales team basically, and I'm not really keen on all the details. However, you can see that we use a conditional statements, and they are really helpful if you use Salesforce integration. So we can check out the leads already within Salesforce.
Yeah, it's basically checks if the potential lead is already using LiveChat. So, for example, if they subscribe after the initial chat, we don't want to pester them, and we usually don't want to. If they already signed up, if they already started trial, they probably will be picked up by other journeys. What we want to target are those customers that didn't really start a trial and need some extra push or some extra explanation, or maybe a like demo to start a trial.
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So you've really sensitized this just to a segment of users that are not currently in trial, have no other record with your system, were net new to your website, and now you're engaging with those people specifically.
Yeah, maybe we could talk about a bit about how we really pass the information from LiveChat to AutoPilot, because the passing the tag information required some magic from our developers that set up the specific webhook that does that.
I wouldn't call it a magic webhook. It's just plain webhook thing, and it's pretty easy. So basically, there are two ways of achieving this thing now. First one is via webhook, as Kuba mentioned. The webhook is named onChatChanged. So whenever a chat changes within our system, so whenever a tag is added, a simple call is being made, and this call consists of all details on the chat and the other things. So all those information goes straight to AutoPilot, and the other way to achieve is to use a third-party integration with Zapier. And actually today our support heroine Justina made a great job of creating a tutorial how to do this. So we would be able to give you the clear information after the webinar with the article.
Great. And out of interest, what was sort of the technical implementation time required to set up those integrations?
Actually, it was pretty easy. We wanted to achieve some more information. We wanted to integrate this thing with our CRM. So it took like another few hours, but the main functionality, the plain straight functionality, shouldn't take more than half an hour actually.
Yeah, it's not that. It seems complicated, but it's really easy to set up.
Great. All right, well, that's use case number 2, generating high-quality sales leads from visitors who come to your site automatically with a sensitized and helpful outreach email. So let's go to number 3 here, and this is a customer loyalty-focused one. Again, this is actually a great one for the audience because this is a bit of a quick win, and this is built around the Net Promoter Score, or the NPS survey. I suspect most of the audience is familiar with the Net Promoter Score, but it's the question of how likely are you to recommend a friend or colleague to, how likely you to recommend your service to a friend or a colleague, and those who respond 9 or 10 to that, we consider net promoters of your service, and 1 to 6 are considered detractors. So what you've done here is you've asked your most loyal customers who do complete your NPS survey to publish customer reviews, and in doing so, build up your authority and your reputation on a service, in this case, GetApp. As many of us in the audience probably know, business review sites like GetApp or G2 Crowd can be a strong source of traffic and leads for enterprise software vendors, but obviously building up your profiles and your review is hard. So I love how you guys have streamlined this in an automated fashion. Maybe if you could talk us through this a little bit.
Sure, but I think we need to switch presenters right now because we don't see the presentation. Okay, we got it.
We got it.
The whole idea, this is one of the quickest wins we got with AutoPilot because it didn't really took that long to set up. I think it was like half an hour, 40 minutes, maybe something maybe like that. And what we did was utilize the NPS results we already have, which stands for Net Promoter Score service, which are a basic service that check how likely is a customer to recommend our service to a colleague or another business. And what we did was contact the people who rated us higher, so either with a 9 or a 10, and we sent them a quick follow-up after the survey, asking them whether they will willing to leave us a review on a service like GetUp. And the idea behind this is if someone already likes our service and told us that they like it, I think this is the best moment to ask them basically for a favor and see if they would be willing to do that. This yielded really great results because a lot of people went for the review, and it actually allowed us to become one of the, if not the highest rated LiveChat service on GetUp. I think we've collected around 120 reviews in total on that platform, and a lot of that goes to could be has been done in relation with this journey.
Great.
So yeah, I think this is one of the quickest wins you can get with if you're running NPS or any other service like that. This is one of the wins you can get with AutoPilot.
And 61% open rates and 13% click rates on these emails is about as high as you're going to see for standardized automated emails, I feel like, particularly one that's actually for a big ask, which is for a review. So you've clearly hit a vein here. What sort of inspired you or first made you think to do this?
Yeah, I love this example because it doubles around the subject or the matter of micro moments, a term introduced by Google. And actually, it's all about finding the right moment for some action. So we thought when somebody actually gives us a good rate in NPS survey, it's a perfect moment to ask him or her to do something else. And that would be a simple action of giving us the review.
Yeah, it's basically the opposite of discovering a pain point and reacting to it. It's basically discovering a moment when the customer thinks of us really highly and utilizing that to for going to get a review.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. When the emotions about something are good, the lead is more willing to do something else for us. So I love this example because it works. It really works well.
Yeah, and we definitely plan to use it in our future NPS service.
Right. I love the way you've broken out the concept of micro moments, the opposite of a pain point. It's almost like a triumph moment as opposed to a pain moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, great. That is an excellent example here. So let us move to a fourth example of where you have been working across departments to generate a very strong customer journey that is having high open rates and high click rates. And this is with your trial onboarding experience where you convert free trials into customers. It's a key mission critical journey that many, many companies have. So maybe to start off, would you mind just breaking down the stages of your trial funnel?
Sure. So basically in LiveChat we treat the initial part of the funnel as visitors who simply enter our website, try to learn something about LiveChat, and we aim to convert them into qualified leads by encouraging them to start a trial. So whenever a visitor starts a trial, we start to treat them as a lead. One of the biggest steps they need to overcome when becoming a lead is to install our code on their website. Because if they don't do that, we probably lose the lead because they won't see any value in the product. So we want them to become qualified leads by installing LiveChat on their website. So going from leads to qualified leads. And to do that, we do our utmost to encourage them to install LiveChat and start chatting to simply see the product value. And what we did to, and after that, when the customers start chatting and see the product value, they simply become customers. They decide to sign up and become customers. So what we did was to make sure that the biggest problem the customer may have to overcome is the installation of the code goes smoothly. We've created a journey that actually is run by our customer success manager, Alicia. She simply, after checking if somebody installed the code or not, she goes to the website and tries to start a chat to show the customer the ropes, to see how LiveChat works in practice if they don't get any chats from their real customers yet. After that chat, we send a quick follow-up to just let the customer know that we are there to help and to maybe suggest some resources they can use to boost the number of the chats they have or customize LiveChat further. And that happens after 2 hours after the initial chat. After 7 days, we send another follow-up to check how the customer is doing. So basically, we check how many chats they had, if they had a chance to see the product value or not. So for customers who either had a really low number of chats or didn't really have any chats, we try to make sure they have all the knowledge they need to first set up LiveChat properly on the website, and second to boost the number of chats they're having. So, for example, set up some custom chat invitations or try to place a chat button on the website. For customers who had some chats or had a really high number of chats, we simply congratulate them and just let them know that we are there to help if they need it. So we try to help these customers who didn't really have a chance to see the product value yet, and move them further down the funnel.
Excellent. So, yeah. So since you've put Well, I was going to ask, since you've put in place this automated follow-up from your customer success managers that targets or speaks differently to people who've installed the LiveChat tracking code versus not, have there been any learnings or specific new steps you've put in place in the process as a result of feedback or new things you've learned by doing this that have actually improved the customer experience and improved your conversion of new trials?
We definitely learned a lot. We definitely learned that we need to offer more resources like this to our customers who don't see the product value. And I've talked to Alicia about this, and she said that in combination with another forms of approaching customers, like sending them a tweet asking if they need help or trying to contact them on LinkedIn, these follow-ups really sparked some great conversations with customers that allowed them to first resolve their problems and then convert into customers. So I say that this journey is really both helped us to rise our conversions and gave us a lot of ideas what kind of resources we need to create to make our customers even more successful during the trial period.
Great, perfect. Well, listen, this is pretty exciting. We could spend a lot of time on trial onboarding alone, but given that we've got about 10 minutes left here, we'll go to our last use case, and then we might have time for a couple of questions here as well.
Okay.
So last question, this one's really exciting, and it shows, I think, a great way of how LiveChat has been successful at using AutoPilot, not just as a marketing platform, but across departments in novel ways. And that is that we also know that driving meaningful educational support experience is such an important part of generating sort of goodwill for your service and driving word-of-mouth referrals. So here you've been able to take the simple step of just delivering relevant content after an agent tags a support interaction, which helps, I guess, your team burn down their queue while giving your customer better VIP treatment. It's like, as we say here, the details that matter. This journey sort of really impressed our team here, and I would love to hear you describe more your proactive customer support.
Yeah, sure. The basic idea behind this journey is really similar to the first one, or the second one that we discussed, the sales journey. So we after implementing the sales journey, we thought to ourselves that, hey, maybe we could use that not only for trying to pitch the customers and sell more licenses, but also to help the either existing customers or those who are trialing our service to be successful with LiveChat. So we went ahead and created a similar integration that checks if a particular chat is tagged with a specific support tag. So, for example, if a customer has a question about CSS customization or creating an invitation in LiveChat, the agent that is servicing that particular lead will answer the question, tag the chat, and after that, we'll send a whole lot of resources to the customer. So this is a really great way you can use to nurture either the leads that are about to convert or help existing customers to be even more successful with your product. We have already a lot of resources available on our website, and we found that customers are not able to reach them all. So a journey like this is a really great way of utilizing the content you already have to provide a really specific and meaningful help to customers. So it's not aimed at all our customers. It's not like an email blast, but it's a very specific, precise type of help you offer through this journey.
Which I guess explains why, you're getting very, very high open and click rates. You're dealing with a very segmented group. Yeah,
these are things that people simply need. If someone came to our chat and asked for help, they simply need resources like that to solve that problem. So we go ahead and send them to them via email. So as you mentioned, this is maybe seems like a small thing, but in the long run, when we just simply nurture the customer further and further, it really shows how the thoughtfulness of your support.
And again, in this example, so you've basically built out an AutoPilot, a series of journeys that are triggered by different tags having been applied. So those are triggering journeys, which in turn is sending follow-up content, I presume, for a growing list of different content matters, including using CSS customization, for example, in your support app.
Yeah, this is one of the largest, I think, journeys we currently have, because it covers a lot of topics our clients ask about on chat.
And how do you prioritize which areas to generate content for and create a journey for?
Basically, I think it's about delivering help to as many users as possible. So, for example, if we really see a pressing matter that needs our attention and customer needs help with it, we prioritize that. And if there are less pressing matters or niche problems that we need to answer, that goes on later.
Got it. Very cool. Well, listen, this is excellent. It's 9:54, so we've got a few more minutes here. Let's move to some takeaways. But again, I sort of really applaud the way you've been thoughtful and interdisciplinary in how you're leveraging automation to be very personal, and I think the results are speaking for themselves. So why don't we move to a takeaway slide, and I'll let you sort of talk us through sort of point by point of what you consider key takeaways from what you're doing.
Sure. One of the biggest wins or takeaways we had with AutoPilot was the huge rise in conversion rates and open rates from the emails we started to send. So we moved from a simple email blast that targeted all of our what were sent to all of our customers to really specifically targeted campaigns that target a specific group or customer that experiences a particular problem, or for example the sales contact. So this is one of the biggest wins we've noticed with when switching to AutoPilot.
Great.
Yeah, the other thing is that we believe in a cooperation between the departments. So AutoPilot led us to collaborate on many things, and we really enjoy the low learning curve about the using the application, the software, because it allows all of the people in our company to collaborate on the journeys.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. And I assume that you have internal ways in which you can sort of check each other's work and make sure no one hits the nuclear launch button by accident.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it didn't really happen yet, so we are pretty hopeful that it won't happen. So I think we're pretty set in that department.
Excellent.
Yeah. So another reason why we think you should really use AutoPilot is the simplicity of how easily you can connect it with other tools and start gathering data from various sources. For example, LiveChat. This actually was one of the biggest I think wins for us. Finding the way to utilize all the contacts, all the leads we get through chat, and use them in AutoPilot journeys.
Yeah, it's simply outstanding how well it works together, because we've been using it for like, I don't know, 2 months, and we've already been through all different kind of things, and all of them are basically a success. So yeah, this is really, really great.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that your use case of generating leads from the support chat is a good example of how if you went out to purchase those leads, it would have cost you probably tens of thousands of dollars, and it just shows that you're really extracting the value of your customer data.
Yeah, and finally, we found out that the small ways we can the small improvements or small ways we can offer help to our customers make really a lot of difference in the long run. So, for example, the small gesture of offering help after a support chat really shows to our potential customer that we will be there for them to help if they need it. And this results in really great NPS results, and that allowed us to capture more reviews for GitHub. So in the end, it really pays off to offer that kind of personalized help after chats or over emails.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, this has been excellent. Great summary. We've got a couple quick questions here. Maybe time for one question. One from the audience here, clearly inspired by what you've said today, which is, what journeys will you work on next? Any ideas for us?
I think from my side, it would be journeys that try to further develop the drip campaigns with that offer content, and maybe add a step in the end that tries to offer for example, offer that contact to our sales team, and for example, set up a call when they will try to pitch LiveChat to them if they are not already a customer. So this is definitely something I want to try out.
Yeah, so like a life cycle nurture.
Yeah.
I also want to follow the approach when you try to find how you can make your customers' life easier. So basically, this is a good question because it makes you think about your customer and makes you think how actually you can do this. And when you go for it, choose the things that are easier and shorter to implement and easier to measure, because you can achieve a really good things, a really big wins in a short time.
Well, you know what? I think that is a perfect place to end it, because I think talking about smarter ongoing drip campaigns and how to make your customer's life easier is a great roadmap and a nice way to wrap up what you've shared today. So, you know, I really want to thank you both. Before we do, I know that you had an offer for anybody on the call today for starting with LiveChat, so maybe I'd just let you know about that. Let you describe that real quick.
Yeah, as mentioned, you can use LiveChat with AutoPilot. The whole integration works really well. And if you like to try out LiveChat, we have a special code prepared that lets you give you 50% off from the first payment. You can try out the LiveChat for free for 30 days, and if you add the coupon and add your credit card information right now, you can get a huge discount on your initial payment. So we really encourage you to try it out.
Yeah, it's worth.
All right. Well,
sorry. It's just worth to mention that the first payment is can also be a payment upfront from the whole year. So it's not only the first month.
Yeah, you can save a lot on this code.
All right, so a big, first month of first year, big discount with LiveChat. So that's excellent. Well, listen, Jacob and Philip, I really want to thank you both for taking the time today and for preparing for today. You know, I want to applaud you for all the great results you're getting and the successes that both LiveChat's having and that you're having with your automated customer journey marketing. And we're all big fans of LiveChat over here at AutoPilot. So I just want to thank you both again for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and I think we really can't wait to try other things, experiment some more with AutoPilot, and see what we can come up with.
Sounds great. Let's do it. And to the audience, thank you again for your time today. We will be following up with an email that both includes a link to a recording of today's session, as well as the offer that we just mentioned a minute ago from LiveChat. So thank you all again, and hope you go on to have a good day. Bye-bye from San Francisco.
And bye-bye from Wrocław, Poland.
Bye. Cheers.
All right. Thanks, guys.